Hey guys, it's me, Adam of the band RavenEye, and you are listening to the Breeze Lair Podcast.
Hi everyone, welcome back. We haven't spoken in a while. I haven't spoken in a while. Welcome back to the Breeze Lair Podcast. I'm your host, Adam Breeze. Today, we're going to do a little interview. I haven't done one of these before, and I'm very, very scared, not going to lie. During the times of COVID, I just wanted to get into the brains of the creative people I know and find out what they're doing, what they're up to, how they're coping, and give you guys a little insight into the creative world. This interview is with the one and only Mr. Andrew Scott. Andrew Scott is an amazing, well-rounded musician, drummer extraordinaire, plays for the band King, I Built the Sky, and loads of other awesome projects. We talk about everything from Mapex Drums. We're both Mapex artists, so we get off on that quite a lot. We talk about chocolate, different kinds of chocolate. We talk about how to not be a dick in the music industry. I know. And loads of other stuff. It was great having him on for the first interview of many that I'm going to try and attempt to do over this lockdown period. So here we go. The Breeze Lair Podcast with Andrew Scott. 3, 2, 1. Welcome everyone. Welcome to the Breeze Lair Podcast. I don't know what episode we're on, but welcome everybody. And today we have Mr. Andrew Scott. Hi, Andrew.
Hi, how's it going?
Good, mate. Good. Yeah, well, you were just saying before we started hitting record that we haven't actually spoken, like, we've spoken over the interwebs and the social media side, but we haven't spoken...
I chatted shit on comment sections of various videos.
Exactly. But we haven't, we haven't spoken like this. But how's it going, man? How is everything? How is... Oh, by the way, Andrew Scott is a brilliant drummer. He is in the band King, for those who do not know. And yeah, I've got some questions in front of me, but I feel like we should just free flow the intro bit and just go from there. But yeah, so you're up north, aren't you? You're like Glasgow way, right? Or maybe further.
Edinburgh.
Even better.
Edinburgh, yeah. Yeah, not like north as in Yorkshire.
No.
The wall.
Beyond the wall, yeah. Okay. Yeah, Edinburgh is, for any Scottish people listening, I prefer Edinburgh to Glasgow. I'm sure that's the case for most people. But I really do. It's a beautiful place, and there's loads of cool architecture and amazing looking buildings and shit. So, and very good venues. Like, is Bannerman's in Edinburgh? Yeah. And the Mash House, is the Mash House in Edinburgh?
That's in Edinburgh.
Yeah, it's a good one
Doing
as well.
well, 2 for 2.
The Motor Point? No, wait. Is there any, like, big arenas in Edinburgh? Like O2 arenas? No. What's the one in Glasgow?
There's like the O2 Academy.
Oh yeah.
That was the one that burned down.
We've played there as well, and that got infested by rats or something, right?
That's kind of standard fare. Like, yeah, Edinburgh and Glasgow. Like, you've got some rats, you got some mice, everything's good.
Okay, cool. So, based up there, what have you been doing in the COVID-related times? I know obviously you've been recording a lot of stuff. But in terms of, gigs and stuff, obviously our industry isn't doing amazingly well. But yeah, what have you been up to? What's your main kind of jam?
The main goal has been sanity retention.
Yeah.
With a lot of I guess I analogize it with a lot of like collateral productivity.
Mm-hmm.
So like all the videos, all the session shit, all of that stuff is kind of geared towards not losing my mind.
Right.
And through just kind of like half of it being like just coming to terms with the fact that like a good part of my job and also like raison d'etre no longer exists. Like coming to terms with that, and then the other half has just been like sticking my nose to the grindstone in an attempt to make what was going to be, fingers crossed, a very good professional year, to try and still make something out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Which, like there have been some rough times. There's been like March through like June were really like kind of like, you know, grappling with like one's own like sense of value as a human. Like, what the fuck do I even do now that my job doesn't exist? And then kind of learning to like live with the whole.
Yeah.
Like, capital T, capital H.
I think it's a weird one because obviously what people don't understand is most of the time we don't have day jobs. Well, I mean, I used to, but it's, you know, it takes, the whole lockdown thing has taken like almost a part of your job, which is income, and puts money on the table, food on your table, and then you're part of yourself as well. You know, you do music and you do all of this for your soul and your sanity, as stupid as that sounds, and it's really hard to explain to people.
Because you don't get into music for the money, and if you do get into music for the money, you're fucking up, because there's so many better ways of making money that involve so much less shitting in a bag and carrying heavy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're, you know, so no person who's out of work right now is like, I mean, yes, not having money is hard, or like not having that income. And I was really lucky in that I was on the verge of finishing like my day job, quote unquote. My partner owns a bookshop in Edinburgh, so luckily I was furloughed for, you know, a decent part of the year.
Yeah.
But like, it's that loss of like this thing that is so kind of attached, and, you know, the Venn diagram of like yourself and music as identity is a pancake, you know.
Yeah.
So kind of grappling with that, like, well, what the fuck do I do now? So that has just been funneled into like, just, trying to be creative and make music and videos. And fortunately my studio is just a couple of minutes walk. So even at like the height of lockdown in like March and April, I was still able to get there. And
right. So how long?
Practice.
How long have you had that studio? Is it like like, what is it? Is it like a rehearsal room converted, or like?
It's a really, I don't know what the fuck else this space would be if not a music. Like, it's essentially, so it's Owlshed Studios, and it's run by myself and my very good friend Jack Davenport, who does like most of like the back end stuff, like the mixing and all the rest of it, and he's a complete fucking whiz kid. And the fact that, so we've had this place for about a year and a half, and it's like 2 rooms and a toilet, and it's underneath what used to be like an old rail bridge. Down in Leith, you know, the film Trainspotting. So like there's this big old, well, it's not old anymore now, it's a fucking Tesco's, but there was a big train station, and so it was this rail bridge that used to go over the road, and we're in this weird space that's been between a shop downstairs and what used to be a rail bridge. So it's just kind of, there are no windows, there's only like one door, like it could never be a shop, it would never be legal like to live in, like officially as like a place of residence. So like as far as I know, like pretty much most of the people in Edinburgh who have something to do with like music, recording, production, so many people have rented this space. Like, I'm pretty sure there was an Idlewild record recorded in this space. And hang on, there's someone at my door.
It's someone at the door.
Maybe we can cut this bit out.
Yeah. No, I'm not cutting anything out, dude.
The
nooks and crannies.
It's Anita's chocolate drop. There's like there's a box of chocolate that's just been delivered. Bring it here.
Oh my god, you get a chocolate drop.
Yeah, you know Tony's chocolate?
Yes.
Here, sorry, Anita, I'm going to open this on the podcast.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Is it like really posh chocolate?
It's
really that's good shit.
Do you know this?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Oh
Living
man.
large.
Tony.
Here you go. I'll give you your chocolate.
That's so much chocolate. Oh my god. Amazing.
So we've had it for about a year and a half. And it's been like, the kind of the backbone of, as I say, sanity retention this year. Usually we do like remote session stuff out of there. We've had a couple of bands come in and do stuff. It's been instrumental in just remaining active this year, pretty much. When so many people don't have access to recording stuff.
So when bands come in, or where someone comes in and goes, I need to record something, I don't have a drummer, or are you there to go, I can play drums on your shit? Or is it like, are you an assistant engineer there as well? Or is your drums just set up there permanently? Are you like the resident drummer? Do you know what I mean?
I kind of like all of the above, really. Like if they need a guy. So what have we done? We have done a bunch of sessions where they've needed a drummer. I've just been like, while I'm engineering the session, like, fuck it, I can play drums on your stuff too. We've had a bunch of drummers come through to record, as is very sort of in vogue these days. Like their guitarists and their singers and bassists and all the rest of it will record in their home studio, in their flat or their house or whatever. And then they'll send their drummers to us to get their drum tracks laid down. And we've had a couple of drummers come in and do some playthrough stuff, and also, as you say, oops, shit, yanking up my headphone. I'm gesticulating wildly. And then also, having, like, similar as yourself, by the looks of things, having like a drum kit set up where clients will send in stuff and I'll be able to turn stuff around generally pretty quickly. Yeah. Just as like with remote stuff.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, the situation here is the same. This is always set up and it's all mic'd up, ready to go. But obviously having a studio somewhere and your drum kit set up, and if it's owned by someone else, like, it's always a weird one. If I know loads of people that just have their drum kit set up in the studio that they rehearse in or record in, and if anyone comes in, like a band, and they're like, oh, I need a drummer, then they'll just, it's a good way to kind of like grab work, which is cool. But so have you always lived in Edinburgh, or have you
I did live in Glasgow when I studied music at Glasgow University. I lived in Glasgow for like kind of 3 years, off and on. Glasgow, so I was brought up in St Andrews. St Andrews, Glasgow. Then I moved to Edinburgh for about a year, and then I moved to Boston, where I studied at Berkeley I lived in Boston for about a year and a half.
Oh wow, okay.
And then came straight back to Edinburgh, and then went back to St Andrews. And then came back to Edinburgh over my sort of 30 years of existence. But Edinburgh's home very much.
Yeah, of course. What was the experience like in Boston? What was the music scene like that over there?
Like Boston was fucking wild, pretty much. I mean, like being at Berkeley is such a beautifully artificial space in that you're just surrounded by incredible musicians. Because it's fucking Berkeley, you know? Like, you can't swing a cat without... And this is actually of, like, a couple of things that I learned there that I didn't expect to learn there. One of the most important things I learned there was just to not be a cunt. Like, it's startling how easy you are to replace there.
Wow.
Because if you're an asshole, no one's gonna, essentially the student run sessions, the studios become available for student use at midnight.
Right.
So the sessions will begin at midnight and usually end at like 4 a.m. So if you're an asshole, if you're shit to be around for those 4 hours where nobody people generally want to be in bed.
Yeah.
Like if you're an asshole, you're not going to get calls. No one's going to hit you up to come and help out with this session. So you're not going to do anything.
Sure.
Or if you're unreliable, or if you drop out or whatever, which, these things have to happen because it's life. But yeah, just kind of really hammering that point home that like, if you're an asshole, like nobody owes you a call.
It's funny how that resonates, not just in Berkeley, but throughout the whole industry. And
yeah, exactly.
being a life lesson in general, but you know, the amount of stories I've heard that it's weird because in England, I guess it's different in America in terms of like when you go to America or wherever, it's like people are like, how are you? And you're like, why are you so nice? Like, you always British people always assume that they want something if you're too nice. But in the music industry, you know, the amount of stories I've heard where it doesn't matter how much of a class player you are. It doesn't matter if you can play every style and, you know, you can kick ass on stage. If you 90% of the time, if you're in a rock band or whatever it is, you're going to be on the road. 10% of that is playing shows. So it's like, if that 90% of the time you're a dick to be around, people aren't going to hire you. And the amount of stories I've heard, it's crazy.
If you're chill to be with on a bus or on a van tour or whatever, like
you're already close you're already close as fuck anyway. You're already like this on a fucking bus, and I know how sensitive people are, you know, and people need space. And if you're an arsehole in that kind of instance, obviously there's some exceptions when, you know, back in the 70s and 80s there were divas and there were guys that, you know Van Halen and shit, but nowadays there just isn't room for it because there's always someone, like you said, there's always someone to replace you. As bad as that sounds,
like you kind of knowing exactly how much, like how small the industry is, and also how much pretty much everybody within it just loves to chat about everybody else within it. Like, you kind of don't get to be an asshole out on the road or in the studio or whatever and then expect people to not
bitch about you,
like to discuss it, you know. And it's
word travels fast, motherfucker.
Yeah,
it really does.
That was a really a very like valuable lesson. Fortunately, as far as I know, I'm sure there are people that don't like me, you know.
I can name a few.
But like, I feel like your ability as a player may be the thing that like gets you a gig, but how chill you are on it is how you keep that gig.
Yeah, it is weird. I mean, I've met loads of musos that you look on their Instagram profile or Facebook and you're like, oh, they'll be great for gigs. You hire them, whatever, a session gig, and then they arrive and their playing's great, but you never thought they were going to be that much of an arsehole or that, you know, that kind of like weird, like freaky, like they'll hug you or something. I don't know, like, you know, just something strange.
Mental note: never to hug Adam, right? Cool.
Yeah, like, well, not, you know, like you maybe on the second date, but you know, I don't know. It's sometimes you just have weird experiences, but they're great players. So, it's a strange world because in like a lot of industries, you just gotta. There's no room for being an arsehole. There really isn't, and obviously Berkeley, that's a pretty high up, you know, school, and I can imagine they don't tolerate that sort of shit anyway. But it's a good lesson to go into when you leave college or university.
Well, that was the two things that, like, when I was young and reading Rhythm magazine and reading interviews and listening to interviews with drummers, the two things that came up the most frequently in terms of like, what is your advice to like younger players who want to, you know, like make it in the industry or want to work, the two things were like, be able to play as many different things well as you can, and like be chill. And those were the two most frequent like points of advice, and those are the two of the things that I try and do as much as possible.
What are your two types of advice for younger players out there, or just guys that want to get into work, or, you know, what would you say the two main things are to keep bread on the table?
Aside from those two things, because that definitely still, like, being able to play as much shit as possible, whether it, you know, like across genres, across like playing instances, like whether, you know, knowing what your job is in like a wedding band versus a prog band versus like a singer-songwriter acoustic set in a cafe. like being able to execute those functions well, and also like, you know, being a joy to hang about with. That.
Yeah, the universal 2 rules. Yeah, definitely, man.
Be good and don't be a cunt.
Yeah, I'm going to put that as a slogan at the top for the whole episode.
Yeah.
Don't be a senior.
And just like, I guess open ears to whatever. And I guess this marries in with those 2 things, like open ears to different types of music, but also open ears to like advice and like things that people say, because there's different types of advice that you can get from loads of, so all right, this is a good example. Harley, our front of house guy with King front of house and tour manager, I fucking love Harley. Essentially, from what I've heard from like phone recordings and stuff of our gigs, he gets my drums and the way that I sound out front exactly the way I want to hear myself.
Wow. Yeah.
Front of house. And that is as a result of the way that I see it, is that drum sound is a collaboration between the 2 of us. It's not just me like tuning and setting up the drums and being like, right, okay, you know, there you go, that's the drums, now, you know, do your thing. You know, he like when we're sound checking, you know, he might say like, ooh, that, you know, that tom's, there's a little bit of a, like, you know, there's a frequency node going on there. Can you do that? You can sort that out, and then we'll kind of tweak the stuff together in that way. So then, you know, like obviously the drums sound the way that they do because I am the player that I am and I hit them in the manner that I do. But if anybody after the show comes up and says like, hey man, your drum sounded great this evening, like every single time I will give Harley credit, because I would not sound the way that I do if it wasn't for Harley.
Was that instantly? Was that like an instant kind of, did you have to work on it with him, or was he, you know, when you joined, did he instantly just get the vibe?
It was pretty instantaneous. We kind of hit the ground running with that, and I think that is really, I think it's a testament to 2 things. I mean, firstly, like his knowledge base and his proficiency, and also secondly, having that ear of like, for myself, and that flexibility, and not, you know, having like ego get in the way of like, no, this is the way my drums sound, this is the way they must sound, like fuck off. Like and you know, and if he's saying like, you know, your snare's sounding a little like it's tuned a little bit high, can you drop it slightly, or your snare's a little bit baggy, can you bring it up a little bit, you know, it's that give and take, it's that kind of like I say, I view the drum sound as a collaboration between the 2 of us. Yeah,
like it's definitely a mutual thing, and I think I'm kind of the same. It's very rarely that, you know, you get, we've done many tours that you get house guys, and normally the drums are like, yeah, they sound okay, they sound good, but when that one guy gets it right on whatever show, you just remember that show and you remember that guy. And you go, can I have your number? Can I have your card? And you just remember it. We had a guy called Dean out with us for a couple of, I think it was Download Paris and France and stuff. And he just got it. He just got the drum sound straight away. And he sent me a front of house mix from, I think someone filmed it on their phone and put it on YouTube. And I was like, fuck. It's just crazy. Yeah. It's just crazy how a front of house guy can just change the whole vibe. If you've got like a shit monitor mix, shit front of house mix for the whole gig, like you put up with it, but it really does, like, it's a big vibe killer. It's a big like, oh, okay, well, I don't sound that good.
As you're saying with like monitor mixes, it's a really nice like,
just confidence.
Like there's a nice, like, it's a nice safety net, because I know, like, if I'm up on stage, if I'm uncomfortable, like if my monitors are like, if it's being weird, or my in-ears are being fucky or whatever, like if there's any reason from like a sound point of view that I feel uncomfortable, I know out front it's going to sound fucking great. So as far as I'm concerned, like the audience is going to be happy, Harley's going to be happy. If those guys are happy, then I'm happy. And like all I need, and I've got like generally next to my riser, like a couple of feet away from me, I've got Allen's amps. So as you know, I can get through a gig, you know, not like totally happily, but like I'll be comfortable enough to be able to execute a show to the point where the audience won't be able to tell.
Of course, yeah.
So if those guys are happy, then I'm happy, and I will walk away from the gig being like, well, fuck, I hope that doesn't happen again. But hopefully still played and gave those guys like their money's worth.
Yeah.
For for having come through to the show.
Definitely. So talking about kinking, let's move on to that. When did that whole relationship kind of start, and how did you get the gig? How did it kind of come about?
So I got that gig. Essentially, Alan hit me up, like last winter. Yeah. Was it last winter? Was it that soon?
Yeah.
That not that long ago? Not last winter. Winter before. Because last winter we were recording the record. Yeah. So like 2 years ago. Yeah, he just seen a video on, I think, Xander, our bassist. Who's like, he's an old friend of Alan's. They've known each other for like longer than I've been alive. Maybe about as long as I've been alive. Yeah, so they Xander sent Alan a video. I think because they needed a new guy, and Alan, he checked this video. I think it was just like a rehearsal. It was GoPro footage of me rehearsing with an old band. And Alan got in touch, and it was like, and we organized an audition. I learned the stuff. Funny story. I learned one of the wrong songs. So I had a list of I think 4 songs, but because I was learning them off of Spotify, one of their records, some of the track listings were jumbled up. So I learned I ended up learning the song Crazy, thinking it was the song Stranger to Love. And then it was only on the morning, like I'd rented a car to drive my kit through to go and do this audition. And I was checking through some, I wanted to see how they did it live. So I was looking through, and then when I looked up Stranger to Love, and suddenly it's a totally different song. I'm like, holy fuck, did they do a different live arrangement? And I'm like, no, this is straight up a different song. And so I texted Alan being like, I think I've learned one of the wrong songs. Fuck. And he was just like, yeah, don't worry about it. And I was really flexible about it, but essentially I just put on Stranger to Love, which actually coincidentally is my favorite one to play live. I put it on in the car and learned it on the drive to the audition. So the first time I played that song on a kit was with the guys in the room. And there was a little bit, there were 1 or 2 section changes perhaps where I was, needing memory jogged a little bit here and there. But then having spoken with Johnny at a later point, he was saying that was one of the things that helped secure the gig for me, was the fact that, the sort of 2.5 hours I had between texting Alan and getting into the audition, learning that track.
Sort out.
Helped out. But went and did the audition, and then found out a couple of days later, Alan gave me a call back, and it was kind of green lights from there. And then so last year because we were writing the record that's going to come out the 27th of this month.
The 27th of this month,
November.
And what's the number on the album? What's it called? What how many tracks are we expecting, if you're allowed to say that?
Is it 10 tracks? Pretty sure it's
10 tracks. Do you have a title for the record?
Maverick.
Yeah. So back to kinking before I fucked up the technical side. You have a single out now called Dance Together.
Yeah.
Right. So this is because I haven't really listened to King. I'm just gonna put it out there because I haven't really I just never listened to him. So I listened to it over the last couple of days, and when I watch your videos on Instagram, if you guys haven't seen Andrew on Instagram, Facebook with his drum videos, and YouTube, because I scrolled through that stuff the other day and there's some golden nuggets on there of drum covers. He is a monster. He, technically proficient, you can play fucking anything. And what my question is to you, obviously, King is, I think, very groove based. It's like a groove. It's like, it's that bluesy groover, Steve Jordan kind of bass drumming. Would you say? Like it's very song based kind of drumming. Now with all like the crazy shit that you put up on Instagram and Facebook, like when you joined King, like where was your kind of main influences as a player? Like what are your main influences as a player? That kind of, because you're a groove player as well. Like you have an amazing pocket, but did you have to like retain? Did you have to hold back a bit when you joined King?
Funnily enough, like when I went to Berkeley, one of the things I had a teacher. I learned mostly drums anyway from Marko Djordjevic and Dave DeCenzo. Marko is like, I owe that guy a massive amount in terms of like the player that I am now and like mindset and all the rest of it. But one of the things that we chatted about a lot was like I wanted to learn more about groove and have more intention with groove, whether I'm playing on top of the beat, ahead of the beat, behind the beat. So at the point at which I joined, or at least that Alan approached me, I had kind of been on this like 3-year, like I'd been working on other stuff as well, like playing lots of notes, but I'd been on this kind of 3-year thing of like, how do I do more with less? Which, like, my experience with King has been absolutely incredible. I mean, learning stuff from Alan, the way that, because Alan is a fucking great drummer as well,
right?
Funnily enough, and like being exposed to other types of drummers and other drummers, while gigging with the band. But as I said before, like as a drummer, being like wanting to be able to play as many different things as I possibly can, and to be able to do them well. A lot of people take that as like being able to play loads of different types of like notey shit.
Sure.
I take the other side. Like I want to be able to play a shuffle that like Stevie Ray Vaughan would be stoked with. Yeah. Which is a work in progress.
It is for us all, mate.
As well as being able to go and play prog metal shit.
Yeah, of course.
Like one of the I am cracked up at like the kind of one of the kind of weird dichotomy in the drumming world of like you've either got groove players or you've got like the chops guys.
No, you don't.
I just kind of feel like guys, you can do them both.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, like in terms of like playing with King is like I love that, like seeing people like tapping their feet or dancing or kind of like grooving along is just one of the things. It just fucking butters my crumpet.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so trying to lay that groove down and that solid groove down that will get Alan going, that will get Alan feeling good, so that he can then, try like that will kind of set the mood and set the stage for Alan to be able to deliver, and the other guys as well, to be able to deliver the best performance that they can, is kind of it. And there are a couple of points here and there in the set where like there are a couple of little bits of like chuck in a little bit of spice here and there, usually with some solo stuff, like at like the climax of songs. Like this is what I was saying with Stranger to Love, playing that live. Like it starts so kind of like it's kind of sultry and sexy, and then it, like Alan has a big fucking solo that like I'm trying to kind of lift and elevate from underneath.
Sure.
And then it just goes fucking bananas, and then we bring it back and we kind of focus it back in. But like, yeah, so as I was saying, so when I joined the band, I had been on this couple of years of trying to really like understand groove better. And like King has been such a great extension of that,
Yeah.
Like working with the guys and trying to figure out, even from section to section, like, okay, so, the verse will be will sit behind the beat, and then the chorus is going to be on top of it. And even with certain songs, like within the same bar, like maybe the 2 will be on the beat and then the 4 will be slightly behind.
Right. Any click tracks live?
Yeah, just essentially to keep consistency. Mostly just so that at least they start at the right tempo.
Yeah, sure. It controls that adrenaline.
Yeah, it's a nice kind of a good fail-safe, I guess.
Yeah, sure,
that.
safety net. Yeah,
and then there'll be songs that like I start it, and it's a Tama rhythm watch that I've got just set up next to me. Have you got yours right there? Oh wait, hang on.
Mate, absolute dreamboat of a metronome. I think it's because it's the Boss DB90 is great. Yeah, the Boss DB90. Yeah, boy. Not endorsed by Tama, but well done. You can make really good metronomes. But yeah, the Boss DB90 is great, but I think it's a bit big. One
of the things I love is how responsive the start-stop button is.
Yeah, and it's really fucking loud as well. Like all the other metronomes I've had are just too quiet. Oh yeah, okay, cool. So it's a weird conversation to have with that, because I saw that whole thing with like, you can either groove or you just play blast beats all day, or like that, there's no in between. And I think there was a conversation I was listening to, and it was like, which one do you need more, or which one, and like blah blah blah. It's like, they're two different species of animal. Like you should learn one and you should learn the other, and you should pull them out at different points. Like if you're playing for an artist and they want you to just to stay back and lay down a groove, then great, that's what you should be doing. But if they want you to go, at the end of this song, just like pull out a couple of chops and just go fucking mental. And if you're that sort of person where you go, I just play groove, man, I don't like fucking chops, you're not, they're just going to be like, oh, okay, well then we can't get that like extra mileage kind of thing.
Yeah. So this is kind of like one of the things I love about like music and drums and like learning as well. Like I never believe that one should never like shame somebody else for the shit that they want to learn.
No.
Like if somebody wants to hang out and they want to practice like swing playing all day long, like I'm not going to kick down that door and be like, you should learn how to fucking play blast beats as well, you fucking idiot. Or like, a guy playing death metal, I'm never going to be like, you should learn how to fucking play a samba. From my own personal, like, and it also depends on what your goals are. Like if you want to play thrash metal, probably learning like 4-limb independence isn't really going to help you very much. But, my own personal set of goals to be able to facilitate whatever somebody, whatever
it's having that scope.
If there's like, a song that is just 2 and 4 all the way through, like Coming Home by King is just straight, just 2 and 4, just it's a groove and it's a vibe. Like I want to be able to play that as well as, if there's a song where, if Alan at the end is like, yeah, we want some of the chops here. Like I don't ever want to have to be like, oh, I don't know if I can do that. Like it's either I cannot do it yet, I will work on this, or yes, I can do this.
Fake it till you make it. To a point, yeah.
And also, and as I say, just to learn the shit that you want to learn, and to be kind of, I guess, cognizant of that. Like I will never ever look down on somebody for not being able to do, because nobody can fucking do it all.
Mm-hmm.
You can only play like yourself. So
like
the drummers who sound most like themselves are the ones who, whether it's like Latin stuff or whether it's like rock stuff or whatever the fuck it is, like those are the ones who really I find very interesting.
I think the strength in music and finding yourself as a human being, finding yourself as an artist, is everything that you go through when you're younger or whatever, and you always go through those periods of imitating your heroes, and then you go through another period of imitating someone else, and then you start changing your setup more, and blah, blah, blah. And then you finally get to a point where you go, oh, I'm not this person, I'm me, and I sound like this, I know what I sound like, I know what my goals are, I know what I want to practice, and that's where you kind of start to go forward and people start going, oh, it sounds like Andrew Scott on that record, or it sounds like whatever, like... Yeah. Those are the drummers that I really get into, because there's a blueprint and there's there's an identity behind the drums. The drums aren't a vocal instrument, but they, sure as shit, if you hear John Bonham on a record, or did, you're gonna know it's John Bonham. And I think a lot of musicians never find that, and that's why there's that battle of like, I'm either a groover or I'm Chris Adler. It's like, you be you. No one's gonna judge you for whatever your goals are. Then just set them and do whatever the fuck. I know what I want to do. You know what you want to do. Find that out first. But I think that's why people on Instagram, on the whole drumming thing on Instagram, get confused and they start doing all this different shit, and because they're trying to find themselves. And once you kind of, I know as a drummer that I'm never going to be able to play sextuplet fucking flammadiddle 6/8 grooves. I know I'm not going to be able to do that, and I'm not going to waste my time. It's not wasting time, but I'm not going to sit behind the kit and try and do that when I know what my strengths are, and I should be working towards the strengths. And I improve your weaknesses, improve your timing, etc. But
like, if it's a thing that you're not driven to do, then it is a waste of time.
Definitely.
Like, I don't think that anything in and of itself is a waste of time learning. But if it's a thing that, like, if it doesn't serve you and the goals that you want to execute or achieve, it, like, there's no fucking point, because you're not, like, because you're not going to do it to the proper, like, efficiency that, or the heart and soul.
Yeah.
As if you're, like, really behind it. Like,
yeah.
If you're like, I really want to learn how to do this thing. Like, then yes, like, even if like you wake up tomorrow and you're suddenly like, I want to learn a bunch of fucking Elvin Jones licks, then like, fucking yeah, on then, smash on, Adam, you've learned that bebop. Until then, like, fucking don't bother, because
once you set those levels or those benchmarks, it's like anything that deters you from it, you just, And
that's where, like, if you learn the stuff that you want to learn, certainly at least from, like when you're led by that little voice inside you of like, isn't that cool? Wouldn't it be cool if you could do that? If you're led by that, you, like, inevitably will learn more interesting things, because you will learn the things that are true to you and your own curiosities. Rather than, like, if it's being led by like ego or insecurity, like, I should be able to play faster because I want to play faster than that other guy, or like, I want to be able to play more notes than this other guy, then like it's no longer music, it's no longer creation, it's now it's competition.
Yeah.
And it's, music is never a dick waving contest or whatever.
It's weird seeing all like the best drummer award, like, the best metal drummer, the best rock drummer, the best fucking, it's like, who cares?
Yeah.
Who fucking cares? Like, why are you putting people on a podium when everyone on that list is great within themselves? Like, it's such a weird concept.
Even if they just reworded it to like 10 of the best.
Yeah.
It's like, pick your favorite out of this lot, but here are 10 phenomenal players.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I think. A lot of artists just don't give a fuck when they get a Grammy. Like, I understand, obviously, that's a bit different because it's an appreciation of the fans and like that kind of like, I sold this many records, but it's almost like Instagram. It's like, look at me, look how well I'm doing, look how amazing my life is, and the reality of it is like, well, it's not adding up to anything that is substantial in your life. So I don't know, it's just all the polls and competitions and all that bullshit in the drum, especially with drums as well, like especially with something as like not simple, but like tribal and as historic as a drum kit. It's like, why are you putting all of these people in boxes when they could probably play jazz, they could probably like play all these other different styles, but you're the best metal drummer in the world. Yeah. And then people get this like fucking hard on, like, yeah, you're right, I am the best drummer, like, I am the best metal drummer in the world. And it can sometimes just be a big ego contest. And that's another thing in the industry, I think, is as another lesson, is like, if you throw your ego around in the wrong places, people will notice and people will kind of catch on to it. And ego sure. is a good thing in some ways. You know, you've got to know your worth. Definitely, but there comes a point, especially lead singers, you know, fucking tone it down, okay? But anyway, so King single is out. Album is coming out on the 27th of this month, which is the 27th of November, so you can get it in time for your Christmas stockings. And when
are you going to listen to it?
Am I going to listen to it? Yeah, if you send me a copy, I'll listen to it. Of course I'll listen to it. So that is that the first King single that you've played on? Is this the first? Is this Andrew Scott and King? Is this like? Do you know what I mean? Is this you?
So there were two other singles that came out at the beginning of the year or earlier in the year. There was I Will Not Fall and Never Give In.
Yeah.
Which are like, between the three of them, they're quite like, the record is quite a diverse record in terms of like the types of songs that are on there. Like, it spans like a decent like breadth of it spans a lot of ground. It covers a lot of ground. There we go. From like really kind of like almost like Southern American, like molasses drenched like groove, almost like Tedeschi Trucks Band type stuff, to like some stuff that some of the reviews have been saying kind of sounds like earlier Thunder.
Yeah.
And some like, I guess what's interesting about it to me is that it sounds different from anything that King has done in the past, but at the same time still sounds very King.
Cool.
And like playing drums on this record and writing these parts and coming up with these parts and coming up with the music with the guys was such an immense learning experience in terms of just the way that you write and construct the music.
Mm-hmm. And where was the album recorded?
It was recorded at Morse Code Studios in Glasgow.
Okay, cool.
It was great. That was the point of, like, you know, as I was saying, with that groove odyssey that I kind of am on. That was the point where I could put it under the microscope and see how well the learning that I'd done in those years kind of coming up to this was like, right, okay, this is where I find out, essentially. Because Alan and Johnny they both have such high standards for I guess for everything. Like, Johnny would constantly say, well, not constantly say, but like I'd come through from the live room having done a couple of takes of a track, and like we kind of listened through, and there'd be a fill here or there or something where Johnny would just kind of look at me, he'd have a little like wry smile, and he'd just say, execution. And the first time I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, execution. You know, you want to play that fill because you're going to have to listen to that fill
forever,
like for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You want that fill to be the best it can be. And I was like, right, okay, got it, execution.
Yeah.
So then that became like the thing that, you know, I'd come through and then he'd be like, it's a great part, the part's there, but execution, which was, you know, his way of being like, right, okay, that's cool. Now go and play it in a way that isn't going to make you want to rip your fucking eyeballs out.
Yeah, that the commitment level has to be there when you're hitting the drums.
So like that whole experience, like I learned a massive amount that hands down I feel made me a better musician, made me a better drummer. And what I love about it is that, so I do both the shits. There's like the King stuff, like the groove stuff, and then I also do a whole bunch of prog and metal stuff, and whatever in between. And
that's I Built the Sky, right?
So like I Built the Sky is one of them. Like I did a tour with Ro at the beginning of the year. Yeah. And I've toured with and I've played a bunch of records for a bunch of other proggy stuff, and I've done some like a proggy kind of doom record earlier in the year. Loads of shit. But the things that I learn, or the things that I have learned from playing with King, beautifully like reflect on like the proggy stuff as well. Yeah. Insofar as like, you know, say if it's like an instrumental record, an instrumental part that like, okay, so here's this guitar melody, treating that guitar melody like a vocal melody in terms of like, right, okay, well I'm going to sit back, I'm going to groove. This vocal melody's got, or this guitar melody's got to shine through. And then, you know, so you can do your crazy prog shit later on. Mm-hmm. But like, yeah, the way the two kind of shine on each other, because, you know, those are the two, like, the polar opposites. Yeah, light and shade. People's imaginations. Yeah. You've got blues, and then you've got prog. Mm-hmm. And the fact that I make my living well-rounded. You're a well-rounded musician. Oh. That kind of, it tickles me pink. I find that really funny. Both camps are equally as confused as the other to find that I do the other. Yeah, so right. All the blues guys are like, you play prog as well, and all the prog guys are like, you play in a blues band. Yeah, sure. Well, there you go. I think that's the one thing that people underestimate, that you just have to. Phil Rudd is always going to play AC/DC grooves, but if you have a scope and you can go into other worlds, I think it's amazing. It's a hard one for me because I've grown up with rock and roll music my whole life, and my parents have as well. So it's like I've always just wanted to be a rock drummer. I just wanted to be a fucking great rock drummer. And you do a good job. Cheers, mate. I mean, it's all triggers, it's all fake. That's why I got this new mixer. But yeah, I've opened myself up into different worlds over the last couple of years, and playing like some weird ass shit. It's still obviously guitar based, but you know, I've done some soundtrack stuff, and I've done like some fucking wedding bands and all that shit. And you just take things from each little project that you do, and you sprinkle it into another, and people in that other project recognize that. You know, so I think it's even like, you know, with yourself, and like kind of constantly expanding. Like, you know, you went and picked up a double bass drum pedal like a couple of months ago, and started on that. I've given up on that now. It's in the bin. It's in the bucket. I chucked on the fire. Yeah, and I'm quite stubborn behind the drum kit when it comes to like learning new shit, like learning really new stuff. I'm always like, I don't need to fucking learn that. Nah. But you know, if it's technique based, or if it's, you know, playing a fill, whatever it is, I like challenges anyway, and it's like it's only going to improve my playing. If it, maybe, I'm never going to be able to learn traditional grip, although I'd love to, and be able to get like the backbeat like Stuart Copeland does, but it's not going to happen. But yeah, like you said, like it's cool that people recognize that, and people go like, oh wait, what? Like, but you do this so well. How can you do the other thing so well as? But I think it's a growing industry, and you just try as many things as you can, because that's the thing. If you always stick to one thing and that doesn't work out, and you're putting all your eggs in one basket, it's like, you know, what's the point? But Mapex Drums, how long we got? I was gonna like do like 15 more minutes, maybe something like that, because we started at 4 and we made it's like an hour and a half or something. I think. Yeah, we're doing all right. Yeah, all good. And we had our wee introduction, like our little chat at the beginning, and then our technical difficulties. So yeah, it's all good. Okay,
So, who are you endorsed by, Andrew? Tell me the facts. Let's get down to brass tacks here. Let's get down to the business.
I am with Mapex, Code Drumheads, and Paiste Cymbals.
And Mapex and Paiste. Well, I guess Paiste's more recent than Mapex, but those are the two newest additions, right?
So Mapex was first, and then came Code.
Yeah.
Mapex.
Oh wow!
Martin
Okay.
Got in touch.
Right.
Martin got in touch like June, July last year.
Yeah.
And then I was introduced to Mike from Code by a friend, and then Paiste earlier this year, when Martin realized I didn't actually have a cymbal deal.
Really? Yeah, because I always thought you were a Sabian guy, but it's just, it's because you happen to have a fucking Sabian set.
It was when I bought a Meinl ride.
Yeah. Like
earlier in the summer, and then when I started putting videos up with that, Martin was like, "You've not got a cymbal deal, have you? Do you like Paiste?" I was like,
"You're like, who? Who the fuck?"
So yeah, then I got that. That first shipment of cymbals was like
represent me. I should really have the camera higher up, but
I do not have.
A bit of nip slip.
Oh wait, it's in a box. Fuck it.
Yeah, that's all I wear at the moment. Is just like, fucking drum swag. Awesome. So what? Seeing as this is mainly drummers that listen to this, what is your current Paiste setup at the moment? You've got a lot of fucking cymbals, but that's just compared to me because I just have like fucking 3 or something.
So I, as we have discussed, I like to play a lot of different shit.
Mm-hmm.
I get work doing a bunch of different shit. So I need a bunch of different shit lying around. At the moment, the cymbal setup is fairly fucking large. There's 14 602 Modern Essential hats. I've got like an 18 Masters Dark Crash, a 20-inch 602 Crash,
nice.
24-inch Big Beat.
Oh yeah.
Which God,
recent. That's a recent addition, isn't it?
Much.
So
I think it's just beautiful.
Why did you go towards the bigger sizes, and why is your ride so fucking high all the time? I think I know why.
I'll tell you the other cymbals. So then I've got a pair of 15-inch dark hats, Masters dark hats, that sometimes I'll have a stack there instead, which will be like an 18-inch PSTX, like Swiss Crash.
Yeah, nice.
With the 18 Masters Crash over here.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's a 20 Masters Dark Crash, then the 22 Formula 602 China,
very nice,
which I also fucking love, and a 2002 Thin Crash for that brightness out on the edge.
Colourful,
so
colourful selection.
Sorry?
A colourful selection there.
Yeah, fuck, and then there are the splashes. So then there's like an 2 8s, there's a dark splash, the 2002 splash, the 10 signature reflector splash.
Yeah. And
I've got the 10 PSTX Swiss hats as like a little stack just underneath the hats. That's a lot. I went with the bigger stuff. I first started getting into the bigger stuff when I was like 16, 17 and hearing Ronnie Vannucci on Hot Fuss by the Killers.
Mm-hmm.
And like kind of looking into his cymbals, and I think at that point it must have been like a pair of 16-inch hats and like big crashes, big ride,
plays big drums as well.
And I fell in love with that sound, and it wasn't until just a couple of years ago that I started actually buying like the bigger cymbals and like big, like quite thin cymbals, just because like they whisper really beautifully. Like a big cymbal played softly is just unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so beautiful. And obviously it depends on the musical situation. Like I'm not going to get the 24-inch ride out for like an I Built the Sky set. But for King and for a lot of the stuff that I do, like that kind of actually the way that I hear cymbals, like a lot of marketing will go out to like like get your cymbals to like cut through the mix and like cut through this and cut through that. Like I kind of don't like my cymbals to cut through. Like some of them I do. Like I like splashes to cut through. But ultimately I kind of see them as like the gravy almost that kind of helps fill out a lot of the, like, that just kind of glues a lot of other stuff together and kind of fills in those cracks. And really like soaks into your mashed potatoes. I'm
hungry now.
So like my cymbal choices kind of speak to that I want them, like I don't want my cymbals to interrupt a vocal line. I don't want, you know, to get in the way. I kind of want them to like to wash and one of the things that I do love doing is, you know, having that kind of ability to, I'm playing my kit imaginarily, is to be able to wash between the different sounds and to create these kind of these like very kind of smooth
oceanic.
Yes, that's a fucking banger of a word for it.
Oceanic. But you just want to fill that space, but you don't want it to be
like, I don't want to obstruct a bunch of shit. So, and yeah, as I said, like it depends on the project. I've got a 22-inch Bluebell ride, like the Stuart Copeland signature.
Nice.
For kind of like metal stuff. It's nice and dry. The blue thing, whatever the geniuses at Paiste do to make it blue, also kind of dries it up slightly, so it pings and it gets out of the way. I've got my eye on a couple of other. I've got a 22-inch signature light ride, which I've been using as a crash, which is, I do love it, but I noticed I started denting the edge, so I'm gonna have to get in a couple of large crashes. But
awesome, man.
But and that fucking the 2002 black, the big beat was. I mean, I've been pestering you about your 2002, your 24.
Yeah, she's over
I wasn't quite brave enough to go for the full, the red 2002s. But I was quite enamored with your ride.
I had a whole back in 2017. I had a whole set of the big beats. I had 21, 22, 24, 16 or 15 hats. And I used them for fucking ages. I thought they were a great combination between the 2002 brightness and the kind of dark, washy. Because with these, once you hit them, it's like in, out, and then that's it. You know, it's just nice and bright, nice, good, big rock cymbals. But the big beats were kind of like in between, which I liked. On the live setting, I would always have to take my cymbals down, and I was like, I have all these fucking great sounding cymbals. Why am I taking them down at venues? Like, I'm just gonna find the perfect balance. And I used them for a while, and I think it got to a point where I just switched to 2002s because I went down a couple of sizes. I think I got 19 here, I got 20 over there, and then a 24 ride, and then 15 heavy hats here. But the problem with the big beats were they're too thin, basically. So I was like warping cymbals, basically. Like they would, it wasn't fun. So Paiste Cymbals. Paiste Cymbals.
Yeah.
Great. Awesome, man. So what are your plans for, obviously I know COVID, we don't even know what we're doing for Christmas yet, let alone the next year, but has King got anything in the books? Have you got anything in the books? What's going on in the next part of your life?
I'm kind of just continuing the quest of
sanity,
trying to not go crazy. We do have like a gig booked in Skegness on like the 15th of January.
Amazing.
It's apparently like, I think we're doing 2 like shows on like consecutive days.
Where's that? As in like what venue?
I don't know. I don't know at the moment.
Skegness,
kind of
amazing.
treating it with a certain amount of like disbelief. Like I'll believe it when I'm standing on the stage about to play the start of the first song.
Yeah, sure.
But So yeah, there's that, and then like COVID allowing, hopefully touring next year.
Sure. Album tour.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Finally,
Wicked.
it'll be good to get out and play these songs.
Yeah, man.
Live, because they're so good on the fucking record, and then, or at least as far as I'm concerned, I'm so incredibly proud of these songs.
Awesome.
To play them on a stage is going to be great. And until then, yeah, like I say, just kind of, I've got a bunch of videos for Mapex on the go at the moment, Mapex and Paiste.
Yeah.
Like you, I've got a bunch of snares. Have you still got those snares?
No, I don't have them. I don't know what you're talking about. I do. I have they're at the back. But yeah, well, I guess we're both doing snare videos but the cool thing is that we all have different snares. So we're not doing the same fucking video.
These are the boxes actually that Martin gave me to post the snares back with.
I don't think I have. Oh no, so he lives like 20 minutes from me. So I literally went round his house and he just gave them to me in the boot of his car. So I don't think I have boxes. But yeah, I have. What do I have? I have the
Cyrus.
Yep, I've got the Cyrus, which is seamed steel. I have the Persuader, which you have. Yes, I have the Heritage, which is walnut maple in one. That's beautiful. That's fucking great, that snare. I never thought that I would, because I've always been looking for like a really nice, like I wanted to try out the Shadow, because I think it's birch. But yeah, walnut maple, beautiful. And then I have the Wasp, which is like a little auxiliary snare which you can mount on the side, kind of like this timbali thing. And then, yeah, I mean, I have my Solidus, which I bought, obviously, which is still my go-to, which is 14 by 7 11 ply maple, which is great. But yeah, so I guess we're doing the same sort of video. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know
what
we're doing, actually.
The atomizer, which is
aluminium
one.
I want that.
I've got the Shadow, which is that's your boy.
Yeah.
I've got the Metallion.
Oh, cool. Brass.
Don't tell Martin, but I don't want to send that one back to him. And what's the other one? I've got the Hydro, which is the 13 by 7.
Oh yeah, cool. The black.
So the fucking alright. So there's like the Fat Bob, which was like the old Solidus, like 14 by 7 maple. So the Hydro is 13 by 7 maple. I don't know why they didn't call it the Slim Bob.
Slim Bob.
I'm fucked up about this.
Diet Bob. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. I think with Mapex, they changed certain things to the drums, but the same with the Wasp. I can't remember the one before it, and it was kind of the same deal. But they reinvent them every year. But I don't know. It's a weird one because for all of my life, I've had one snare drum. I've had my Ludwig Superphonic. I've just literally used that like my whole life. So when you get like a collection of snare drums, you're like, I don't want to depart with any of them because like each one does a different job. And I mean, I've used the Solidus the most, but like the Persuader, they all sound so different, which is what I love about Mapex. Even their drum kits, like every single one, every single range sounds completely fucking different, in the best way, you know. So what we'll finish up in a bit, but the last couple of questions: what kit are you playing Mapex wise at the moment? Like what model, what brand of Mapex?
Saturn 4 and 5, pretty much.
4 and 5.
So I've got like I can't remember the name of it, like the black and red Saturn 4.
Yeah, okay.
That used to be my old King kit, which is now retired to the studio.
Right. But
now, because touring isn't a thing, I have brought my entire King rig back to the studio, which is a Saturn 5 Tour Edition.
Nice.
In like the white marine pearl finish.
Yeah, I've got the 5 in black pearl.
So you'll notice in a lot of my recent videos, I'm using. So my King setup is a snare of some sort, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, and a 24 kick.
Yeah. And
in order to get those sizes, I ordered 2 different kits.
Okay.
So one was 20, 10, 12, 14.
Nice.
And the other was 24, 13, 16, 18. So that left me with, so I've got like, now in the studio, I've got, a 22, 10, 12, 16 in the Saturn 4, and the Saturn 5, I've got 20, 24, 10, 12,
see,
14,
I saw
16,
that.
18.
I saw that video with the fucking 3, 4 floor toms or whatever it was, and that was on a King. That was on a King session as well, wasn't that? That you weren't fucking around. You're actually using it. Yeah, I dig that.
That's my live rig. Alan told me like you gotta get, like, have a kit that'll fill a stage. It'll look good on a big stage. And I was like, all right,
okay.
Say no more.
Yeah, okay. That's the opposite of what I expect anyone to say apart from a drummer. But I guess he is a drummer. But yeah, fair enough. Fuck. You need to get more.
So at the moment I've got I'm just playing 10, 12, 16, 18. So they're the white toms, and then my kick is the 22 from the Saturn 4.
Okay.
So that's like red and black, and then the snares changing about between.
What are you going to use, mate? What are you going to use live now? One snare, one Mapex snare. What are you going to use on the King tour next year?
Actually, I'm going to bring a couple to rehearsals, and I'm going to figure this out with Harley, because Harley will know. But the ones that I will bring to the rehearsals, I think the Atomizer is a very fucking good, because it's really like, it's dark, like it's a warm snare, so it's kind of got that like the dryness that you get from a lot of wood snares, but it's still got that pop, which is funny to hear that pop, but like dark, you know. That, I think the Heritage, actually, I might try and get one of them.
Yeah.
Also the fucking Craig Blundell, the
Machine.
The Machine.
Oh. That's walnut maple as well, isn't it? Yeah, I think so.
I might try the Persuader, but the Persuader might be a little bit too like. But depending on the head, actually, if I change the head, I might be able to get a little bit more kind of like, it's a really dynamic drum, but it's a bit. I think it might be a little bit shotgunny for like King's kind of softer side. So I need something that will kind of that I can play, like a song like Coming Home that is just a groover, and then I need a snare that will also suit like stuff off of Exile and Grace, which was a lot more kind of like rock. Yeah, man. But the drum I used before was a Birch Bubinga. It was a Tama snare. Yeah. Before becoming a Mapex boy. Yeah. And that guy did really well, actually. Bubinga's lovely. The Cyrus, actually. I think the Cyrus could be a really good shout. The steel guys, 14x6 or 6.5.
Yeah, I think it's 6.5. Yeah.
I think that could be a really good shout. So you asked for one snare. That's
fuck's sake, man.
I think if I was going to bet on one, I'd probably go with the Cyrus, actually.
Okay, cool.
I do like a good steel snare.
Yeah, I need to try out the Atomizer. I'm a big aluminium fan.
Maybe instead of sending them back to your house,
swap. If
house.
Martin's watching this, we'll just swap. It's fine.
I'll be totally happy if you want to send me your 4. Okay. I'll send you my 4.
I'll show you mine if you show me yours.
I mean, that kind of podcast.
Yeah. All right. On that note, so before we finish, if you have any social links, shout outs, mum and dad, whatever you want, then please. Obviously, King's new single is out now. But anything you want to plug, go.
When is this podcast coming out, actually?
I will be releasing this episode in like a week or so.
Okay, sick. Just fucking check out the King record.
Is it? It's on pre-order, right? Guys can pre-order it. Okay, cool.
You can pre-order it. Also, if you want to see this big fucking drum kit I was chatting about, we do have a live session available to purchase and download.
All of the links for this shit I'll put in the description, folks. So don't worry.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
I'm not on Twitter. It's just I've not got the.
I don't like it. I mean, I'm starting to not to like Facebook either because it's just. I don't know.
Although, actually, right, okay, so I watched, what's it called? The Social Dilemma, where it's
Netflix one,
algorithm. I watched that, and then I started teaching Facebook only to show me memes.
Interesting.
by like immediately scrolling past anything that looks in any way, shape, or form political and engaging heavily with meme-based stuff. And suddenly it starts to like it's just memes.
Wow. Okay.
So my Instagram stories, like I've like have been very meme-based.
They have.
This is the direct result of teaching the algorithm to show me.
That's good
memes.
to know. Okay.
Yeah, Instagram, Leviathan Owl, all one word.
Some epic vids on there.
Come see me post and dog content and drum content, and every once in a while I'll play a guitar.
Yeah, nice, man. Wicked.
That guitar
right there, or the banjo, or whatever's down there.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you very much for jumping on it and being one of the first that I'm going to interview as well. So this
Who else are you interviewing?
This is setting the bar. Well, I have Nicky McBride from Iron Maiden. No, so I have. I've got some other musicians and other creatives that I didn't want to just like keep this to drummers and musicians. I wanted to interview creative people and kind of find out almost that sanity thing of what is everyone kind of doing, how is everyone coping, and yeah, just spreading some positivity really. Well, talking smack. Yeah, man. Well, hopefully we can see each other in real life one day at a drum show or whatever, Mapex, Paiste, whatever comes up. I'll see you there.
I thoroughly look forward to it. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Touch wood.
COVID can fuck off.
We'll see. Who fucking knows? Definitely not us. We don't fucking know. We'll know last. Cool. Andrew Scott, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining, man. Appreciate it. Thank you for spending some time and talking. On that note, thank you for tuning in, everyone. This will be available on YouTube for your visuals, so you can see all of this. And on Spotify, iTunes, all that goodness, so you can hear both our lovely voices. Thank you for tuning in to the Breeze Lair Podcast. See you in the next episode. Thank you, Andrew Scott. See you soon. Take care, guys. Wash your hands. Wash your face. Keep clean. Stay safe.
Wear a mask.
Wear a fucking mask. Properly. Don't just put it over your fucking mouth. Put it over your nose as well. Yeah. And we'll see you soon. All right. Take care. Cheers. Bye. So there you have it, guys. Mr. Andrew Scott, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining in for this little interview. There will be loads more coming your way very soon on the Breeze Lair podcast. It was great chatting to him. He's an awesome guy. Please go and check him out on all of the social media stuff on Instagram, Facebook. It's Leviathan, Owl, King, and I Built the Sky. Go and check it out. He's awesome. Until then, I've been Adam Breeze. Thank you very much for watching or listening, whatever you're doing. And I'll see you next time on the Breeze Lair podcast. Take care. Cheers, guys.